Hello, my name is Trey, and if you see me on the streets, you can call me Jermany. And here's an outpour of my story. Me coming out, I was like 19. My mom actually was like my best friend, so she kind of knew my story. She knew that I liked the guys, but I never opened up about it. So we were sitting outside one day and she was like, when are you gonna open up to me? She's like, I know what you like. And I was like, what you mean by that? She was like, about your sexual preference. And I was like, well, you know that I like guys and girls. She's like, oh, I was just waiting on you. And then from that point, I'm just like, oh, well, girl, let me tell you this. Growing up was very, very, very hard for me because I was doing a lot of fighting just to prove who I was. I had to fight through middle school, I had to fight through high school. Only thing I knew what to do was, okay, they talking about me, so let me fight them. I did have feminine ways, so I got a lot of guys always picked on me, a lot of girls I was always close with. I had a lot of behavioral problems dealing with the bullying. So my mom sent me off to San Antonio with my father. I was there from 3rd grade until I was in 10th grade. And I eventually came back and finished my last 2 years of high school in Alabama with my mom. So I had waited until I was out of school. I waited till I was 19 years old to where I can actually express myself. So when it was time for me to express myself, that's when me and my mom had our conversation about my sexuality or her waiting on me to come out. So growing up being around guys that are so masculine and you're a little bit more feminine than they are was very, very hard for me to try to fit in. That's a lot of times I wanted to commit suicide or I didn't want to be here because I felt like it was never going to change for me. Nobody's ever going to accept me. Even dealing with certain girls, it's easier now. But back then in school, it was definitely hard for me. So my story behind how did I get into the adult entertainment lifestyle? I was actually, I ran away. This guy ended up seeing me in a gay club that I was in dancing, pretty much lied about my age and all of that. They didn't check anything at that time. So I was dancing and this guy approached me about doing, have I ever did gay porn before? And I was like, no, I have never slept with men before, period. I just like men. After a couple of days of thinking about it, I end up reaching back out to him and I end up joining Coco Dorm. It was a lot of underhanded things going on. I think I got tricked into doing things as far as you're inviting guys into the home to stay 30 days. They get a certain amount of pay, a certain amount of allowance to feed them. We're young. Nobody's working and all we're doing is in the house and this is what you telling us what we have to do and what we don't have to do. And they're not paying you. They don't pay you until the end of the 30 days, and then you're really up there with like no money, no nothing. I left really fast, like I ran away again. I was trying to find myself, pretty much say, because that was one of the worst experiences of porn. With me, if I don't feel the connection, I make a connection. You got tops that get off on a certain way that bottoms do things, and you have bottoms get off from a certain way that tops do things. I feel like it's all an illusion to get you where you need to be sexually. When I'm on set, I'm thinking about what do a bottom want to see in this scene and what do a top want to see. So I like to perform when I am on set and I am interacting with my co-stars. So I kind of look at it as what my viewers want to see me do and what they will get off on. And that's where I went into it and that's how I got into it. That's what really made me look at porn totally different than a lot of other people, how they look at it. I look at porn as an art. I don't look at it as, oh, I'm getting a nut or I'm just doing this because I enjoy having sex, because that's definitely not the case. I like to tell my story sexually through sex. And I feel like doing it doing it on camera, I can express myself a lot more A lot of my scenes that I have done, it wasn't, oh, I enjoyed it, or oh, this felt good. It was actually, to me, was acting, and it was to make my audience feel what I was giving. I wanted to bring them into, make them feel comfortable, make them feel like, oh, I make it feel real. I actually have been battling colon cancer for the last 6 years. I got diagnosed in July 14, 2014 in Alabama. Later on, about 2 years later, it came back more aggressive than the first time. And I had to have surgery. Then I went on chemo, I had to have radiation, I did all of that. And in that time frame, being somebody that's been, that has low self-esteem and battling with their appearance, by coming in contact with that disease, it kind of made it worse for me to be accepted for me to actually accept myself. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like the way I felt. It just was totally different for me. At some point in time, I actually thought that that was it for me because it seemed like it just kept coming back and it didn't want to leave. So I felt like I was not going to be here too much longer. Only reason I can say that I fought through it and I beat it, those 2 times, is because in my head I kept saying, I have kids here and I know that I can fight for this, because I didn't want to leave my kids behind. It was nothing else that I really cared about. I just didn't want to leave my kids behind. So I fought and I fought and I fought. And to this day, I'm in remission and I've been good and blessed at the same time. If I can go back, I would have gave myself the advice of not settling, because settling never gets you anywhere. I am Jermany, and this is my story, and I'm sticking to it.